When you play online poker using a poker calculator, one of the most relied upon statistics is VPIP. VPIP, or VP $IP, is an initialism for voluntarily putting money into the pot. This is a very descriptive statistic of your opponents because it shows you their willingness to play hands, translated as, are they tight players or are they loose players? VPIP is a pre-flop statistic, so it also represents a player's fundamental pre-flop strategy, or perhaps lack thereof. So let's look at how VPIP is actually calculated. It's actually pretty simple. It's the number of hands a player voluntarily puts money into the pot, divided into the total amount of hands dealt to that player. You can then express that as a percentage to get your VPIP. So for example, if a player voluntarily put money into the pot 27 times out of 68 hands he was dealt, his VPIP would be 39%. If he put money into the pot 62 times out of 394 hands, then his VPIP would be 16%. If both these VPIPs held up over a long period of data, then obviously we are dealing with very different styles of players here, and this is very reflective of the loose-tight scale. Now, the actual counting of VPIP action needs to be clarified though, because a player can actually be in a hand and not be VPIP. That happens when he is the big blind, like, for example, in this micro-stakes hold'em cash game. Here, these three players obviously are VPIPing because they all limped into the pot. But the big blind had no choice, as his bet was a forced bet, and just simply part of the game. Forced is not voluntary, hence this will not count to his VPIP stats, even though he may continue to play in the hand even after the flop. But what about the small blind? Well, that is a forced bet too, but he cannot play unless, in this case, he actually calls the full blind bet. Well, even to top up the small blind, that is still a voluntary action and will count to that player's VPIP. If he decides to fold pre-flop, then he does not add to his VPIP percentage. So getting back to that loose-tight scale I mentioned before is actually the groundbreaking work of a famous doctor of philosophy who actually plays poker too. No, not that guy. It's this guy, Dr. Alan Schoonmaker. Okay, maybe he's not so famous, but he does play poker, and in his classic book, The Psychology of Poker, you will find this profile grid which you can use to accurately identify the characteristics of your opponents. This will come up more later, but suffice to say for now, a player with a low VPIP will be positioned somewhere on the tighter range of this grid, as opposed to a player with a higher VPIP and positioned on the looser range of this grid. When you understand all of the profile indicators used in all of the poker calculators and combine that with VPIP, you will be able to pinpoint your opponent's past and predictable playing style. Certainly then you'll be in a much better position to make more profitable adjustments to your game. Tournament Indicator is a poker calculator that includes the VPIP statistic we just talked about. If you want to learn more about this stat and others, Tournament Indicator provides an unlimited use, 48-hour trial period that you can use on virtually any online poker site right now. So go ahead and give it a try now by clicking on this link, where you will be taken directly to the specific page for that download. Thanks for dropping by.